OBS says it's live, but why is the internet not pushing it through? That's great timing.
That's how it is.
If it ain't one thing, it's another. Let's see. Let's go back and piece a couple videos together. Oh, let's see. All right, I think we're back. Let's see.
Right.
All right. We'll have to piece a couple videos together. But we're back to get everyone caught up. As you can see on the screen, joined by Coach Michael Crawley from South Haven Christian School. First year head coach there at the school, has been with the well, not first year head coach. First year head coach in this stint, had a stint as a head coach, and then first year for the school in the conference. Um, Coach, going into the first year of being in a new conference, obviously there's some most of the teams you have played, some of the teams you haven't played, just because of starting up a program. But as long as you guys have been around, most of these teams y'all have played them. Um, does it seem like the stakes are a little bit higher, maybe in some of these games? Um, with some of these teams that you've played before, but it's been like a cross conference kind of deal. But now there's some stuff. There's some skin on the line.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at our schedule now, and just the way the three divisions work out, taking two from each division, every game is crucial. If you slip up on an in-division game, the odds are starting to stack against you on making the playoffs. So they're all very vital and very important. And then we have two cross-divisional games, one from each other side of the divisions, and those are great opportunities to get ahead on the tiebreaker scenarios. So, yeah, with the new league and the new format, there's no weeks off. There's no taking weeks for granted for sure.
Is there anyone you look at, any games you look at, and you say, I can't wait for this game?
Yeah, I mean, you always hate to give people bulletin board material, right? But I would say an early test for us will be going away to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that that's a game that, believe it or not, we've never lost to them, and I know they
Didn't
know
know
that,
that.
and yes, that's been brought up before, and I'm sure that's something they're going to want to change on August 23rd. But that'll be a really good test for us, honestly, to travel away, take a long road trip, and just really find out what we're about. And it's one of those where we'll know if we have the physical and mental toughness to go in and survive and play a close game, or we'll learn real quick if there's adjustments that need to be made to make it through the rest of the schedule. So that's a game that I'm really looking forward to.
A game like that where it's a conference game, but it's a non-divisional, or maybe like a Tabernacle where they're coming to you guys. We just talked to Coach Davis. A game like that versus maybe a game against a CCS or um, somebody that you guys already have a rivalry with. Which one do you think is going to be easier to get guys, get them ready for, get them going for um, during the season?
Well, I mean, I would like to say CCS, just because that's going to be a more important game for us, just with
Yeah,
playoff implications
yeah.
and the long standing familiarity with one another. I mean, they know who we are, we know who they are. We went and played them on 5 in the spring. They've beat up on us the last two seasons. So I mean, I would hope that that's a game that our guys can be ready for, and that it speaks for itself when PTS week comes.
What are we going to? What's the go to pregame meal, or are we a pregame meal guy?
I'm not really a pregame meal guy. I could take about seven coffees with cream. That's
What's
pretty good
what's
for
what's the
me.
what's the postgame meal then?
whatever's open.
Fair enough.
In the past, my wife has been the cheerleading sponsor for the last few years, and usually she would run to whatever was open and grab it. This year, she's not sponsoring the cheerleaders, so I'll be fending for myself after the game. So, whatever Coach Spears and I feel like doing after we do laundry. So,
Being
I know our boys, not to interrupt, some of our football players' parents own the Ichiban Steakhouse here in Springfield, and once or twice a year they'll provide meals for the kids, and
There you go.
they love that. They love that meal for sure.
How big is it to have? You mentioned Coach Sawyer staying on the crew, but to have coaches that have been there for a while, how big is that coming into a year where it's again not your first time head coaching, but a first year for this stint. How big is that to have that kind of support around?
Yeah, it's vital. The support around our program is higher and more than it's ever been before. There's a lot of optimism and positivity with the coaching staff, with the players, with the administration. So having that support to hold up my arms and to keep me encouraged and to give me a good advice and just help as we need is so vitally important. And without the guys around me, it's not possible.
Let's hype up the guys a little bit. We mentioned some players earlier. I mentioned some players earlier that are coming back from last year, but is there anybody I missed, or is there anybody during the off season that's really stepped up that you're looking forward to seeing produce this season?
Man, you're always trying to get me in trouble with the kids that we don't name. No, I mean, I don't really remember who you mentioned before earlier,
Well,
but
I mentioned Gabriel and then Caleb and Ivan are the first ones that come to mind. But I gotta be missing somebody.
yeah, sure. I mean, well, one, Gabriel is such a talent. Gabriel is a kid that if you could harness his energy and bottle it, you would be a billionaire. Um, Gabriel,
He
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 called me
se-
yesterday.
he seems like the kind of guy that doesn't get tackled. He makes you tackle him.
Yeah, he's just, he loves to compete. He has a lot of energy. He's a little out there sometimes. We got to reel him back in, but
Yeah.
he's a good kid, and we're proud to have him on the team. You mentioned Ivan and Caleb. Those are both big pieces going into the year. Um, Really, some of the young kids. You know, we started a sophomore quarterback last year who played really well in spurts, and he struggled at times. Um, really has worked hard. I believe he's going to take a step forward and do well. That's Wyatt Show. Kate Atkinson was a freshman last year who I believe led the team in tackles, had a lot of good offensive production, has gotten a lot stronger, faster, so he should take a big step forward. Jared White was another sophomore, I believe, last year, first time ever playing football. Good, solid athlete that should take a big step forward as well this year.
Coach,
I do want to mention you talked about a couple kids that have worked hard.
yeah, go for it.
Ben White and Trevor McCarver have both dedicated the off season in transforming their bodies. They've been in the gym once or twice a day, working with different strength and conditioning coaches, and just really doing everything they can to prepare themselves. We came into the season with some big holes in the offensive line, and they have really dedicated themselves to getting their bodies prepared to start practice tomorrow and to take those positions. And I'm really proud of their effort and their transformation in their body and work ethic.
All right, well, go rest up, Coach, and get ready for practice tomorrow. Got the Jamboree coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, and looking forward to seeing what the guys do on the field, not just then, but throughout the season.
Yeah, have a good day.
Appreciate it, Coach. It's Coach Michael Crawley from South Haven Christian School. Appreciate him joining me, and sorry about the issues there during the interview. A couple internet issues, so did record part of the interview that was missed. So we'll get everything kind of stitched together and pieced together, and get a complete video put together. Get it back up here on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow, but yeah. I did not mean to set it up this way to have Tabernacle and South Haven right off the bat, but they opened the season with each other Tabernacle out South Haven. Didn't mean for that to happen, but to have back-to-back coaches, pretty crazy coincidence. So, anyways, but I appreciate Coach Crawley coming on, even with the health issues, and hopefully he's able to get to feeling better for practice tomorrow. And again, I'd like to give a big thank you to Sutton Pools for sponsoring the interviews this season. Let's get our next guest lined up and get him on the phone. Well, I say guest. He's already been on the show once this season. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the program. We're very excited about the opportunity to get to have him on again. He's the Director of Business Development at Rocky Top Sports World, Mr. Andrew Capps. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon, James. Everybody listening, doing well. Hot day here in Tennessee. We had a lot of rain yesterday, but it turned out to be a nice sunny day today. So been trying to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I would say that class of 2026 watch list was a hit last week. A lot of huge kids. What has the response been on y'all's side after that? Even putting it out on your side.
Yeah, man, it's been incredible on social media, and everyone getting involved and getting excited and sharing that. And players feel proud to be on that list, and coaches are proud to see their players on the list. So it's that was a great success. And then we roll around this week, and we've got the seniors version out, which is huge, and a lot of names, a lot of good players, and it's been great to see all the hype around it. And again, want to remind everyone that there still will be a nomination needed to be officially reviewed and graded and eventually selected if you make it to that point. But I've even had 11-man players and cheerleaders asking me when theirs will be coming out. So it's something that I just got to get working on and get them out there to the people.
Well, you really have nothing going on. I mean, you've got NFL kickers and punters up there this past week. You got the Black Bear Brawl coming up. You got plenty of time on your hands. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. No, it's doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day sometimes, but at least I'm doing what I love, and all of us are at Rocky Top, and that makes it a lot easier.
There you go. Well, no one wants to hear me talk, and they all want to hear you talk, but the biggest thing they want to see is this class of 2025 list. So we're going to get it pulled up here, and it should be on the screen now. Let's see. Yeah, should be up right now. There we go. So looking through this list, and obviously these are guys. I think it's a little bit different from last week. Last week with the class of 2026 list, you had guys that maybe had played in the Rising Stars game, or guys that didn't, and maybe some younger guys you didn't really know about. But the seniors list for this year is guys who played in the juniors game last year. A lot of those guys. And just first off, what an incredible game that was. But there's so much talent on this list. Just looking through it, I'll give a couple names that jump out to me. Jalen Solomon from Arundel Parrott, and of course we'll get to see him in the Black Bear Brawl. Somebody like a Jake Nelson from Cornerstone Christian Rainsville, Caden Poulin from Christian Community School in Tennessee, Zeke Adams, Cornerstone Christian Columbiana, Will Welch from Evangel Christian, Tyler Schifferns from Fort Wayne King Crusaders. Let's see who else. Just names that jump off the Riley Heitzman from Zion Christian, Jackson Sawry from Wayne Christian. Let's see, Chance Hawkins, Preston Holmes from Tri-Cities, Jake Wogan from the Tennessee Heat, Gabriel Ding, we talked about him from South Haven Christian, Ben Rubelski from Riverside. Let's see who else. Cam Yeomans. Can't forget Cam from Pack Panthers, Sean McNulty as well. I mean, this is a stacked list.
It really is stacked from top to bottom. People that are looking at the list now, you see the names that are grayed out and a little bolder, a little larger font. those are our 4 award winners. We usually give 3. And actually, I want to throw in there also. I need to put Reed Castleberry was our Hambone Award, which is our top offensive lineman.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I need to add him as a winner there. That was something we added late. Hambone was a guy who worked here in our county as an officer, county officer, worked a lot of security for our events. So we had gotten close with him, and he tragically passed away last year. And has a son actually who's playing at Wake Forest now as a freshman.
There you go.
So we called it the Hambone Award, the big men. So Reed won that from Evangel. So I want to make sure to shout him out on there. But the other 4 guys, we typically only give out 3 awards during the game. If you remember, it was very difficult to decide who deserved MVP there. You had Avery from Ezekiel, who, 200, 300 yards receiving.
Oh, I missed him. Yeah.
Yeah, he went off that game. Then you had both really. Levi ended up with the better game on paper. Levi won the offensive player of the game, but Evangel's quarterback was right there as well. So, and then you had Sean McNulty, who had a handful of sacks in that game, big game for him. And then Logan Bryars, who was he's the one we had to make an exception.
Good night.
Yeah, right. As a defensive player, to earn MVP, you really got to do something special. And he did. He had multiple fumbles, multiple interceptions, tackles all over the field. The guy just went. He had video game numbers that game, and he went off. So that's a name that we're definitely towards the top of the list as far as who we're watching this year, because he's been active. We've seen in the off season with camps and getting his name out there, and he could very well be one of those 8-man guys that plays at a pretty high level at the next level. So excited about him. Avery with Ezekiel. The quarterbacks on this list are amazing, and there's a couple of quarterbacks here from Missouri that I'm really excited about. Would love for them to get nominated and have a chance to come down here and prove how good Missouri football is. We had Jalen Knox, who's on the list here, who's from Slater up in Missouri.
Oh, I see him. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, really. Yep. He played in the junior game last year, and really, really fast, really shifty guy. Plays a lot of 7-on-7 this offseason. Been following him, so he's a guy from Missouri that came down and showed that they can more than hang with the talent in the South. And then really what I want to mention is North Carolina, the state of North Carolina as well, really made a statement in the senior game last year, right? We had Ray Shaw winning defensive player of the game. We had Tucker Holmes, Caden Hamlet, Shaquan Etheridge, and then probably the best player on the entire field, Marty McKnight, who was just incredible. So it just, for us to finally start getting the top 8-man players in North Carolina from the top programs in North Carolina, that's great. That's kind of what we want here, and it's definitely set up an interesting list as we go in here, because there's a lot of kids there from North Carolina schools. You got Braden, who's another very talented, Braden Ronaldo from Cary Christian in North Carolina, another very talented, fast wide receiver that mixed with their quarterback who was on the juniors watch list. He'll put up NCAA football 25 stats for the guys who are like me, even playing that game. So he's a kid that's going to have a big season. Landon Myers, also his teammate from Cary, is a guy we'd love to see up here. So
yeah,
tons of storylines on this. I do want to point out there's one kid on here. Let me get to him, but he is from Idaho.
Oh, no way.
Yes, I've been doing some research. It's Sawyer Hewitt. So he's a guy that has some college offers. He's out of a program called Kendrick Tigers out in Idaho. A lot of 8-man football out there, and I've been following him on Twitter for a while and seeing what he's been up to and getting these offers. And he's one of the top 10 running backs in the state, regardless of 8 or 11 man. So that's a haul. That's a really big trip across the country. But if he performs well this year and gets nominated and is selected, I would love to see potential of him making the trip over to Tennessee and showing us what Idaho 8-man football is all about. We got Boise State there, and been known to sign 8-man players before. So,
Well, and he would join a very outstanding professional football player in the group of guys that played 8-man in Idaho.
exactly.
Old Leighton Vander Esch.
Exactly. So he's
So
the big story, and I thought it was cool to add him on there because that's just such a unique state. But it is somebody we're definitely watching, and I hope that if he goes out there and performs like we think he will this year, that a coach or a scout or parent will nominate him or a teammate, and any others in the state of Idaho or obviously nationwide that are playing 8-man football. We want to see him.
I'm looking at it now. I also see Ty Jones from Russell Christian in Mississippi.
Yep.
Cade Joyner, Kemp Sword. I don't know how I missed Kemp Swords. Kemp Swords. You mentioned Reed Castleberry, Ethan Stallings. Let's see. Brady Boskin. That's a guy I missed. Caden Bagulia. I know I just butchered that name, but Jackson Carter or Jackson Harris and Michael Carter from Tuscaloosa Christian too. A couple guys that jump out to me. But well, here without further ado, let's run through this list real quick. I know there's a whole lot more guys, so why don't I take the left-hand side, you take the right-hand side. We'll run through these names real quick.
Yep, I'll hang up and listen.
So from Archie High School, Archie Whirlwinds in Missouri, you've got Shane Hyder. From Arendelle Parrott Academy in North Carolina, Jalen Solomon, Cade Mixon, and Luke Stocks. From the Augusta Eagles in Georgia, Eli Poteet. From Ben's Ford Christian in Louisiana, Ian Knight, Trevor Bennett. From Bishop LeBlond High School in Missouri, Jacob Winkelbauer, Carson Staggs, Christian Anderson are on the team list from Bishop LeBlond. From the Bramer Bobcats, Bramer High School, Jordan Haler, Keegan Sisinich, and Xavier Webster. They come from Bramer High School there in Missouri. From Brunswick Academy, Jaden Watson. From the Carolina Wildcats out of South Carolina, Titus Hendricks. From Cary Christian, we talked about it, Braden Ronaldo and Landon Myers. From Cornerstone Christian Rainsville out of Alabama, Jake Nelson. Caden Poulin, quarterback for Christian Community School out of Tennessee, as well as Mason Bernard from Christian Community School as well. Clay County Christian program, former 6-man. They're making the move to 8-man. A.C. Waldrop has been one of the really good players on that team, was really good last year. So not just them making the move to 8-man, but then him also coming into his senior year. Excited to see what he's going to do. Logan and Colin Wood from the Coastal Hurricanes out of South Carolina. Zeke Adams and Noah Schober from Cornerstone Christian Columbiana there in Alabama. Killian Falk and Andrew Barksdale out of East Central Patriots. Will Welch, Cade Joyner, Kemp Swords, Ethan Stallings, and Reed Castleberry are from the Evangel Christian School Lightning out of Alabama. Avery Haskew and Noah Jones, Brandon Davis, all from Ezekiel Academy, also there in Alabama. Tyler Schifferins from the Fort Wayne King Crusaders out of Indiana. Had a great showing last year, and then got to see him also play in Florida in the NHSA tournament. So looking forward to seeing what he can do his senior year. Logan Bryers out of the Freedom Cowboys in Alabama. Very exciting game we talked about last year. Austin Gardner and Mason Burr from Halifax Academy out of Virginia. A little bit of Virginia 8-man football in the mix there. Levi Cantrell and Davis Foster. They're from Hebron Christian in Mississippi. Jeremiah Nichols from the KC East Lions in Missouri. Andrew mentioned Sawyer Hewitt from the Kendrick Tigers out of Idaho. Landon Bragg from Lancaster Christian there in Tennessee. I think they call him Dizzle Bragg. But he's coming into his senior year. Corey McGee, Brayton Donaldson, Graham Weineman, and that's it from the Magnolia Wildcats out of Mississippi. You've got Logan Decker and Levi Durling from New Heights Christian there in Missouri. And then Leron Perkins from New Hope Leadership Academy there in South Carolina. We'll come back up to the top of the list, and Andrew, I'll let you take over from there.
All right, thank you, James. Yeah, good names on the list you read off there. We'll start off with another from New Hope Leadership in Gabriel Whipple, and then just a stacked list of Pack Panthers.
Oh yeah,
most of these guys have played at least 1 year, some of them 2 years in our events up here, Rising Stars. In the juniors game last year, we had Kyler Barkley, Sean McNulty, who's one of the more physical and strong linebackers and pass rushers in 8-man football. Cam Humans, another strong physical guy, obviously can play linebacker and running back. He had that incredible run in the game last year, dragging 5 or 6 defenders 30 yards down the field.
Beast mode 3.0.
Yeah, exactly. So Cam, coach's son there, Jance Lamb, another Swiss Army type player like Will Welch. He can play offense, defense. He's very pivotal in their offense and lethal running the ball. Larry Reinhardt, another DV of theirs. Caleb Carter, a big guy on the line. And Derek Pryor, I think is how you say it. And then
I think it would be Pryor, yeah.
A couple of guys out of Pattonsburg with the Panthers, Landon Preston, Parker Virtue. We've got Dante Bingham, also out of Missouri with Plattsburgh Tigers, along with his teammates Gavin Boyle, Ryan Langton. Those are guys that doing research on Devon's with Missouri 8-man football's stats website. That he does a very good job with these. These were juniors that put up really impressive numbers last year.
And I want to give a shout out to Devin and the crew up there with Missouri 8-man football. They do a fantastic job.
Absolutely, they've been a very good resource. And again, we're hoping to get to increase Missouri's presence at this event this year. So moving down the list, we have Ben Rubelski and Braxton Rhodes, Riverside Christian. I believe that's a resurrected program, correct?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yep.
Good to see them back in action, and going to be watching these two guys here. Seems to be their two can't miss seniors. Then we've got 3 guys from Rocky Mountain Academy. Our offensive player of the game, Marty McKnight, was a pivotal piece in their team, so they'll be looking at these 3 guys to kind of fill those voids, especially Cam Dawkins. I believe he is the running back replacement for Marty McKnight. So Cam Dawkins, Micah Bozeman, and Wyatt Wells are 3 guys we're watching from Rocky Mountain out of North Carolina. Ty Jones, of course, he's younger brother of a former All-American defensive winner, and he had a strong game at running back last year in the juniors game. Isaiah Cullors, now that's a name that was supposed to play in the juniors game last year. Something came up, but his stats, if you go look them up, are just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just video game stats. Kid looks the part. So hopefully we can get him here as a senior this year. Isaiah is somebody that we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on. And saw he had a teammate that put up some good stats last year as well, and Elliot Sevitz. And then, of course, Jalen Knox, mentioned him earlier, speedy wide receiver from Slater. Expecting a big season from him. And then we've got a trio of players from South Haven, Caleb Sorter and Ivan Martinez, who both played last year in the juniors game and had a couple big plays. One of them had a scoop and score. I think it might have been Caleb.
Big pieces on the line, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are always positions we need, and those are guys that are well coached and definitely expecting big seasons out of them. Gabriel Dang, another younger brother of a award winner in our inaugural All-American Bowl back in 2020. Gabriel is just lightning in a bottle. He was hurt last year, couldn't participate, but we're hoping that he can this year, assuming he has a great season like we think he will. Moving down the list, a couple more from Missouri, South Holt Knights, Cole Metzger and Trevor Mark. Then we've got Caleb Cole from Southern Prep, another wide receiver that played in the juniors game last year. And then Greg Johnson III from Springwood. He actually played in the Rising Stars game. He's a young junior, young rising senior now, and we had a need for a tight end, and he fit the qualifications of being kind of within that range of age that we're looking for. And he had a big game in the Rising Stars game, playing 11-man format. So we're excited to see what Greg does this year, along with his brother CJ, who we know was on the juniors watch list.
Yep.
Then Jake and Luke. Jake Wogan had a strong game in the juniors game last year. Really good kid, really strong, tall, lanky kid that can play a good defensive line. And then Luke,
he's hard to move.
Yeah,
he's hard to move in the trenches.
Yes, he is. Right. Jake is impressive for, he plays bigger than he is. He's a big kid, but he's plays much bigger, right? So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and then of course Luke has a name that we know very well, All American Bowl, one of the best performers in 2 years that we've ever seen in Aiden Luchtefeld. So we're excited to see his younger brother here, I believe, Luke,
Yep.
and his
Yep.
season. This is probably Carter Coaster out of Toledo Christian. I mean, just exceptional athlete. He might, as good as he is a football player, he's just as good a basketball player, it looks like. So I don't know. He's definitely going to play at the next levels in one of those two sports. I don't know what he'll choose, but we're hoping that we can get him down this year if he has another monster season. He went off for Toledo last year. Just Sports Center top 10 type plays, interceptions, touchdown catches. The guy was practically unstoppable. And I believe Toledo won the state championship up there.
I think they did. Yeah.
And the conference championship. So Carter is a guy that has been very high on our list. I think that their rules in that state don't allow underclassmen to come to these type of events. So that's why he was not able to come last year, as well as being caught up in basketball. But hopefully he can make things work this year because he's an exceptional athlete and somebody we're very high on. And then Tri-Cities Christian, a lot of guys on here, but they're all deserving of being on here. Preston Holmes, Chance Hawkins, Brady Boskin, Josiah Dixon, Noah Cocklow, Caden Bugalia. I should know that. He was here last year. And then Cooper Jaworski.
I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
Yeah. And I just know him by Caden. Caden played last year, as well as Brady, Chance, Preston, and I think Josiah did as well. So
Yep.
We'll get a chance to see them in a few weeks. So excited about that. And then Michael Carter, who played in the juniors game last year from Tuscaloosa, and Jackson Harris was a new name that Coach Arnold.
Arsenal.
There you go. Coach Arsenal let me know about. So that's a guy that he said we need to keep an eye on. So Tuscaloosa's kids had a strong showing last year that we had in the seniors game. So excited to see them. And then Colt Bailey, Wardlow Academy in South Carolina. He's coach's son, really talented dual threat quarterback. Somebody that has that reached out to us and said, hey, we play in the same conference. It was Drew Spires who played All-American game last year, one of the better wide receivers in 8-man football last year, who's now playing D1 at Citadel. They're in the same conference.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Citadel, who Coach Danny Lewis, very proud to say, somebody on their staff, actually their associate head coach, I believe is his official position, coached in this All-American game for 2 years when he was with Heathwood Hall out of South Carolina. So very thrilled to say that we've had that type of pedigree here, and it has certainly helped in recruiting, as he knows to keep an eye on this event every year. So, but yeah, Colt Bailey is out of a program out of there, South Carolina, in Wardlow, that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Looks like he's poised for a big senior season. Jackson Sorry, big kid, big kid, big strong kid from Wayne Christian. They seem to have a strong team there. Jonathan Jackson as well, who plays linebacker. Both of those guys played in the junior game last year. And then Jeremiah Winders, who did not, is somebody we're watching as well. And then, of course, we've got Levi Murphy really kind of headlining this. Him and Kemp Swords just, it's hard. It looked like it was hard. I'll have to give all the credit to Coach Hagan Joyner for being able to split carries, especially, or split snaps, especially with one of those quarterbacks being him, it being his own. So an evangel coach with an evangel quarterback, and and Levi got just as many snaps, if not more, than Kemp, which is a testament to Coach Joyner and his staff for making sure that happened, because boy, they both put on a show. Levi put on a show. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can make every throw on the field.
Coach's son, I was about to say coach's son. Yeah,
a lot of coaches' sons on this list, and a lot of pedigree last names that have had siblings play in this event as well. So very really cool that we've been around long enough to start seeing these trends and start seeing siblings, and maybe one day we'll see one of these guys coaching in this game. That's a lot far down the road, but who knows? But yeah, Levi, just expecting a huge season out of him. I think he's gonna do a great job. And then his teammates, another Levi Kenderman, Charlie Reynolds. Those are two guys Coach Murphy told us we need to keep an eye on. And then rounding it out is Riley
Heitzman.
Yep. Heitzman out of Zion Christian here in Tennessee. So again, solid. That's over 100 guys on there. I mentioned it last week. It's one of the hardest parts of my job. I wish I didn't have to do it, but most, a lot of these guys are not gonna get selected, or, it's just the reality, or they're not going to get in the first round of selections. It's just the reality of the event. We can't have 100 guys here and 50 kids on each roster trying to split time in one game. So, it's really going to be something. I hope these guys that helps motivate them, because at the end of the day, and you remember last year, it came down to, selecting a couple of players based on their postseason performance.
Oh yeah.
So we don't want to tell them that in advance and put any more pressure on them than there already is. But
it's the truth.
It came down to, we had a handful of quarterbacks and we only needed 2, or we could only get 2 to properly split up playing time. And it came down to really who won. And, we obviously made, I think, a good choice in Aiden Burns, because he came up and won MVP in the game too. So,
yeah.
That was, I expect it to be very hard again this year. Like I said, it's not something fun that I like to do, but I think it's what makes this, it's what's making this event what it needs to be, which is truly set aside for the best of the best.
Yeah. It's another level. It's another level.
Yeah. Right. So that, this is hopefully something that all of these guys will use as fire to motivate them. Hey, I made the list. That's great. But this is not the end. I need to go out there and perform and play to the best of my abilities and make it impossible for them not to invite us, So, well, I hope that guys have that type of mindset and that type of drive.
Here's what I'll say. Make it hard on the selection committee to not include you. Make them lose sleep over it, guys. That's what you need to do this year.
Yes. Yeah. Because, the selection committee reviews these nominations weekly. Sometimes there could be 50 or more. But, and I'll reiterate how important film is, an updated film.
Yep.
A mid-season. That's why we open up nominations at mid-season, is to give players time to get a few games of film on Huddle, and possibly even a whole mid-season highlight is always smart. Not just for us, but for college coaches too. And that's what, for the selection committee, that carries a lot of weight. So, juniors highlights are good, but we want to see, and the selection committee wants to see, updated highlights. So, and 8-man football has come a long way in the last 3 years in film. And now that's, because it's a cost, but for these programs, for these coaches, but the coaches that are on the teams and programs on this list and players are all well represented on Huddle and in some sort of highlight fashion, because it is so important.
Well, Andrew, appreciate you hopping on and debuting the watch list for the class of 2025 here on Extreme Talk, and it's been a lot of fun. It's not the end of our ride yet. We're still got a little bit left, but not going to spoil it just yet. So appreciate you coming on, and good luck this upcoming week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, James, and everybody have a good rest of your Sunday and good week ahead. It's almost that time.
I know. I'm excited. That's Mr. Andrew Capps with Rocky Top Sports World, and it's the debut of the class of 2025 watch list for the Gatlinburg All-American Bowl seniors. Of course, they've split it into seniors and juniors. We talked about the juniors watch list last week, and you can go check that out here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow Gatlinburg All-American Bowl on Twitter and Instagram as well. A lot of good stuff coming out of their socials there. Well, that just about does it for Extreme Talk, presented by Complete Real Estate. A big thank you to them for sponsoring the show all season, and a big thank you to Sutton Pools for sponsoring the interviews today and all season as well. Thank you for listening. Sorry about the issues. We'll get them squared away. We'll get it all fixed and get a good video on YouTube. But that's it for today. See ya!